This is going to be a tape made by um, Clarence Franklin and myself.
What? Tell us about Maud again. Her machine had stopped. You said Maud was born when? Maud, when was she born? When did you say Maud was born?
Maud?
Yes, sir.
Maud was born June the 7th, 1893. Incidentally, when Mom and I were married, we got married on her birthday. When she was 11 years old.
Is that right?
We got married on June the 7th, 1904, and she was born June the 7th, 1893. So
Yeah.
she was 11 years old the day we married.
Now it was Maud. It was Maud that married Uncle Lodi, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
And they moved to New Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, and they lived at Truth or Consequences, which later became known. I mean, they lived at Hot Springs, New Mexico, which later became known
Part
as
of the time.
Truth or Consequences.
Yeah,
Then
but
they later moved back to Clovis, their
Yeah.
original. When they left Franklin County, Arkansas, they went to Clovis.
Clovis, that's where they started
And
out.
then a few years, that was in the 1950s, they moved to Truth or Consequences, what was called Hot Springs at that time.
Yes, sir.
They stayed there about 3 years, then they come back to Clovis. So your Aunt Maud died in Clovis, at their original place.
Now, after Maud, who was after Maud?
Maud was a baby.
She was the youngest.
Yeah. That's our daddy's first family. Of course, he married after my mother died. He married again, and then he had 3 children by his second wife. They're all living.
Now, one of those was Lee up in Port Angeles.
Yeah,
Oh, was that?
that's Lee. That's the middle one.
Okay, tell us about those 3.
Well, Mabel, the oldest, was born July 16th, 1903, out in Oklahoma. We were living in Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
Lee was born June, I can't give you the date, June 1907.
Who? Oh, who was?
He was born in Newton County. That was after they went back to Newton County. And so was Audrey. Audrey was born May the 13th, 1913 in Newton County.
So Lee is the middle
That's
one.
their 3 children. Mabel, Lee, and Audrey.
Now, Lee married Pearl while they were here in Arkansas, didn't he?
Yeah, he married Pearl Fry
I see.
from the Newton County section up in the old country up there.
Yes, sir.
Mabel.
Let me change. I'm going to have to turn mine over. Let me turn my tape over before we go any further.
Lee and Audrey.
Now, Lee married Pearl while they were here in Arkansas, didn't he?
Yeah, he married Pearl Fry.
I see.
When
We're ready.
When I can talk without recording it, I want to ask you a question.
Turn it off and ask it.
Okay.
That's all right. Ask it.
Just you want us to turn the machines off?
Why have you got 2 of these? Does one
That's-
copy from the other?
No, he did. I brought mine. And he just come along and brought his.
Mother brought her machine, and I just brought mine. That's her machine, and this one is mine. She wants a copy, and I wanted a
Has
copy.
all the children got one?
Yeah, Timothy has. Timothy, we send tapes to him, and Victor has. We-
Shucks almighty.
We send tapes to him instead of writing letters.
Uncle Joe, you know when Daddy was alive,
Yeah.
did you know that I've got a couple of tapes of my dad when he was alive?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, he told all about his life, and it's so interesting.
You have got some of his recordings now?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
whole bunch
That's
of 'em.
wonderful.
So he said such funny things in them.
You know, Uncle Joe, if someday, now it's on a different tape machine. It's on the round reels. These are called cassettes, but the ones with Daddy on them are the round reels, and it takes another machine to play them.
Oh.
But one of these days, if you would like to hear those, I'd be happy to bring it over and set it up, and you could listen to it. He sounds just like he did when he was alive.
I don't know. That would be wonderful. It'd be wonderful to hear that, but I don't believe I'd go to that much trouble.
Well,
What did you want to ask, Uncle Joe?
Huh?
You told him you wanted to ask him something.
I think you wanted to ask about the machines. I think
No, he said when you turned him over, he wanted to ask you something.
that question you wanted to ask when we turned the machines off. Was it about the machines?
Yeah, I wondered why you had two.
Oh.
And I wondered if one copied from the other. I'm just full of wonder. In other words, during our conversation now, has both these machines recorded what we said? So that you both got a record.
Yeah. Watch what you say, Uncle Joe.
Shucks almighty.
Watch what you say.
Did you know
They didn't have anything like that when I was growing up.
these are amazing machines? They really
Yeah.
do everything. But I was going to tell you, Uncle Joe, we've been meaning to come over here for a long, long time to have you do this, because you know so much about the family history, more than any other person I know of, and I love to hear about it, and I like to have a record of it, and I just felt like that we ought to do this. And in fact, we were talking about this yesterday evening, Mother and I told her, I said, well, if you'd like to go over there tomorrow afternoon after I get out of school, we'll do it.
Well, I'm glad you came over and led me this far. I know it's all news to me, even though at my age, I always find something new,
Yes, sir.
It's interesting to hear.
Because this day in modern time, new inventions are coming on, and they're getting, I don't know whether we'd say better and better and better or not. Sometimes when I think back over my 94 years, that maybe we had it much better back then,
Right.
because we didn't have so much to worry about.
That's right.
I believe you're right, Uncle Joe.
Sure right.
I told you a while ago that during this icy winter we had, that of course my children always caution me, and part of the time they go with me and steady my elbow about getting out in all this ice and snow we've had. Going from here to Faye's, which I do many times a day, I have to go across a neighbor's driveway there, and his driveway slopes from the street, it slopes down towards his yard, just like mine does. So when that got sealed over with ice and snow and everything, it's dangerous to go across that sloping place there. Sometimes I'd go down as far as his truck, parked down lower down, and weighed the snow that I could break through till I got to his truck. And then I'd hold to his truck bumpers while I crossed over and got to the snow on the other side. We'd done everything to get over the ice and snow that was frozen. And no, when it's frozen on the slope, you don't know where to put your foot down or whether you can put it down. So I was going down our driveway there when we had plenty of ice and snow down there, and I slipped and fell. The children always warned me, don't fall on the ice, don't fall on the ice. But I had my fall anyway.
Oh, that's a pretty
7
fun.
years ago, I was trimming a tree out here with a stepladder, that Chinaberry tree. I was up about the third step on the stepladder, and one of the standards went down in the mole runway, sunk down. Went through that stepladder to one side, and I had nothing to grab through, so all I could do was just hit for the ground. So I struck the ground and struck on that left shoulder most. Luckily, I didn't break any bones, and I was shocked. I was shocked for about 5 minutes, and it's ever since that time, it's been about 7 or 8 years, I've had a lame shoulder. Then when I fell a while back on the ice down there during this winter, you guessed it, I fell on that sore shoulder.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's the way it always happens.
Oh boy.
And I didn't break any bones then. I went to the hospital, checked up, they took x-rays. I hurt my ankle. The knuckle bone of that ankle hit the ice and skinned it a little bit and kind of bruised that ankle. And I was so afraid of taking pneumonia from a hurt of any kind. I was so afraid, so I told Joe and Faye the next morning that I'd had a fall. And I had spent a kind of a miserable night, and I was afraid of pneumonia. I wanted to go to the hospital. Joe says, I'll talk to Faye and we'll get you there today. Well, I went over to Faye's. I made my way over to Faye's pretty soon after that. And, well, she had a fit. She got right on the telephone at once, and in less than 2 hours we was in the hospital. And they was checking me up, x-rayed me, my shoulder, my ankle. But fortunately, the doctor says, well, you haven't got any broken bones. You got bruises. So that's where they bound up my ankle, gave me a prescription for pain, sent me home. So I stayed about 2 hours to get
Alpha.
$93.
That sounds just par for the course, as they would say in golfing.
Did Joe Jr.
But fortunately, I'm insured. So I got out of that $93 with $6.80.
Oh, don't
My
get in
insurance
there.
paid the rest.
You had a question you wanted to ask?
Did Joe Jr. have any children?
Huh?
Did Joe Jr. have any? Does he have any children?
He's been married twice. Neither one proved to be any account, and they didn't start any children.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's just a grass widow without any obligation. Only me.
I remember when you guys used to have this country club over here.
What?
You remember when you used to run that country club? Joe
Yeah, we
was a golf player.
Him and me together run that for 22 years.
Yeah.
Did you start at the country club right after you finished at the post office?
Before.
Is that right?
I started when the country club was here then. The clubhouse sat right over here. In 1935. That was 9 years before I retired. I worked 9 years. After we come to the country club, I worked at the post office 9 years. And while Joe was in the armed forces, he'd gone between 4 and 5 years. Mom and me run that country club. We was over here then.
And it was where the cemetery...
And I still worked at the post office.
Yeah, I remember that.
She'd run that thing till get up in the morning and run that thing. And there's not much doing at the country club in the forenoons. So I had an early morning shift. I'd go to work early, and by 12:30 I was off. Well, I'd come home and I'd be able to take over in the afternoon. For that 4 years that Joe was gone, we run that country club ourselves, 2 of us.
Joe was a good golf player, wasn't he? Joe Jr. was a good golf player, wasn't he? Joe Jr. was a good golf player, wasn't he? He used to play golf a lot. Joe Jr.
Oh, Joe Jr. done what?
Played golf a lot.
Oh, that's all he does.
Yeah.
Of course, he works around the house there in the in the grass mowing time, and believe me, he's got a lot to mow, but he's got 2 more. And he comes home and cuts the grass. He keeps all this mowing done. It's got past me. I can't do it anymore.
No, I
And he
see.
keeps all this mowing done during the mowing time, but in the afternoons, why, he gets his dinner and gets in one of his cars. He's got 2. Got a truck and he got a car and a pickup. He gets one of them. I don't see him anymore than about this time of day. But he's very faithful. He works awful hard around here during the working time.
Well, that's good.
He has to keep it up because I'm not able anymore.
Mm.
I hear you were a good golfer yourself.
No, I was never much of a golfer. I play southpaw. I'm left-handed. I play left-handed golf.
Are you left-handed? Are you regularly left-handed?
No, I'm left-handed only when I use a tool of any kind where both hands are. I've got to go this way instead of this way. But if riding or throwing a rock or anything else is done with one hand, I'm naturally right-handed.
I see.
But when it comes to a tool of any kind that takes both hands, then I'm left-handed. I go this way. I used to cut trees down up in Newton County. They have cut them down. I sit down this way, and then Jim, your grandpa Durham, he's right-handed. So he'd get over on the other side and he'd cut down this side. So we'd have a stump set like this.
Yeah.
But James Durham, the one just older than me, was also left-handed. And I'd cut down one side of a bush or a tree, and he'd get on the other side. So we had a fork that way. And my daddy, your grandpa Durham, your great grandpa Durham, was an ambidextrous. He could cut either way.
Is that right?
Cut down a tree this way, just change his feet down, on this side, and cut. He cut either way. Called ambidextrous. He'd hand it both ways.
That would be a good way to be.
We had a wonderful time. I come back. I had determined some 15, 20 years ago that I wanted to write a book of my life, the book of Newton life in Newton County, our growing up, from the time our folks came to Newton County until we left there. We stayed there 19 years. 19 years, and 18 years of it was my life. I spent my first 18 years in the mountains.
And you enjoyed it up there, did you?
I wanted to write a book on it. It's been about that thick, but I never got to it. I never got it.
Should have done.
I could tell tales that the young world wouldn't believe now.
Well, now, Uncle Joe, you say you really enjoyed it up there?
What?
You enjoyed it up in Newton County? I say you enjoyed it up there in Newton County. You enjoyed the life up there?
Oh, Clarence, we didn't know there was any life beyond Newton County.
Well,
we didn't know. We didn't know. Actually, we didn't know there's any life beyond Newton County. That's a hard thing to say. But we were. Here's an example. Nowadays, they call February the 2nd Groundhog Day. You remember, they're called February the 2nd Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Well, in my growing up down there, February Groundhog Day was exactly on Valentine's Day. That was February the 14th. So I never did know there was a Groundhog Day till I come out of the hills on February the 2nd. There's always February the 14th of that. That's Groundhog Day, just the same as Valentine's Day. That's just one sample.
Uncle Joe, when did Uncle Jim, when did Grandpa Jim or James, your brother, when did Grandma Durham and Grandpa Durham, when did they move to Coal Hill? They lived in Coal Hill once.
Him and Clarence's great-grandfather, that's John Lewis the original, moved to Coal Hill, or rather to Alex down there, close to Coal Hill, in 1904.
Yeah, Clarence was just 1 year old. Clarence was just 1 year old when they moved down there. Because he was
That's-
born in 1903.
The original, you're talking about the original, that is my daddy's family and me.
And I'm talking about,
We left there in 1902, just 2 years before your grandpa left there and your great grandpa John lived.
But what she said, my daddy was born in 1903, so that would have been a year after Daddy was born that they moved down to Coal Hill or to Alex.
Was your daddy born in 1903?
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Well, in that event, he was born in Newton County.
Right, he was born.
Well, him and Florence both were born there.
yeah, Fallsville.
Right.
Florence was born in 1901, I guess, or 1902, 1901.
Mhm.
And your dad was born in 1903.
Yeah.
And then they came south in 1904, when your daddy was just a small child. And Jimmy was born down there in Franklin County.
In Franklin. Now that they moved, you all moved to Coal Hill, didn't you?
No, we didn't. We didn't move. We went to Oklahoma.
Okay, but they moved. Did they move to? Was it Coal Hill or Alex? I thought it was Alex.
Well, they moved. They were both at Alex, because they was in Franklin County. They were closer to Alex than they were to Coal Hill, because Alex is where the mines were that they worked in. So they were closer to Alex. And fact is the Johnston-Franklin County line comes right close to where they both live, but they were over on the Franklin County side. They was in Franklin County. And Coal Hill is in Johnston County, while Aldous and Alex is in Franklin County. So
Yes,
that line goes north and south right between them.
I see.
And there's over on the Franklin County side.
So my dad really was Pappy. My dad was born at Fallsville and was raised at Alex.
No, not very long.
Well, no, but for a few years.
Yeah.
Well, your grandpa didn't live at Alex, but 8 years, because he moved there in 1904 and he left there in 1912. So he was there 8 years. But your daddy grew up there that 8 years there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then after that, well, of course, he grew up here in Fort Smith.
Now, during that 8 years, that was the 8 years that Grandpa Durham worked in those coal mines.
Yeah,
And then when he moved to Fort Smith, he began working at the post office.
yeah. Fact is, he had the job. He had the job before he came to Fort Smith. He came to Fort Smith and got the job. And then when he was made a regular, well, of course, he just moved his family up here, and your daddy was among them.
Now, you did a variety of jobs at the post office during your 34 years.
Yeah.
Grandpa Durham, James Durham, he was the avenue carrier, wasn't he? He became the carrier down on the avenue, delivered the mail on Garrison Avenue.
Yeah,
He did eventually, yes.
He was
But
number
when he
one.
first come, he put in most of his years in a residential route,
I
out on
see.
Route 18, out on North 18th and North 20th Street, out where close to where the North Side High School sits on the west of that. He ran from 18th Street to 22nd Street
I see.
on the north side, from Little Rock Avenue to Grand Avenue and back and forth. And then when Dave Botto, the number one carrier on the avenue, retired, your grandpa was transferred to his route, so he had an avenue route there for several years. Fact is, that's where he wound up his business, on the business district.
And-
Carried from the 5th Street to the river and back.
So for the last several years, he was the number one carrier. His
Yeah.
last several years.
Yeah.
Now you said Little Rock Avenue. What is that? Now, which street is that?
That's Rogers Avenue.
But it used to be known as Little Rock
That's
Avenue, just as Towson Avenue used to be known as Texas Road.
Yeah, it still is. You can still call it either one you want to. You can call it Towson Avenue or Texas Road, either one you want to.
Okay, it was.
And the same way with Little Rock and Rogers Avenue. When we first come here, Little Rock Avenue from the Immaculate Conception Church clear into Barley, Little Rock Avenue. Now it's Rogers Avenue.
Does your battery seem to be running okay, huh? Is it running along okay?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is. It just keeps going back and forth.
Well, you have to watch your the movement of your tapes as well.
Tape's moving.
You want me to check it for a moment?
That's the prettiest poem. I think I'll put that much on here.
No, your batteries are doing fine.
Yeah.
And I believe these are probably doing okay too. Maybe I should check these for a moment. No, your batteries are doing fine. And I believe these are probably doing okay too. Maybe I should check these for a moment. Several different jobs during those years at the post office, and then whenever my grandpa Durham was there, he started off delivering residential routes and then business. Later on, he delivered the business district, and then my dad was a special delivery carrier. So
He had the first special delivery job in Fort Smith, Arkansas, on a bicycle.
I remember Pappy telling me.
On a bicycle, first one ever was. And he got tired. He didn't like to ride the bicycle over Fort Smith and give up the job. And later on had a chance to come back to the post office. Years later.
Uncle Joe, I was going to ask you, has Midland Boulevard always been called Midland Boulevard, or did it used to have another name? Midland Boulevard, was it always called that?
Well, no. It's been called North 11th Street a lot of times, and Midland Boulevard, and on North.
There's Joe Jr. right now. All of the children in his family. All of my dad's family. Name those for me.
Your dad's family?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's Florence.
I wanted it available for the tape, so we have it on the tape here.
Florence, Clarence, Jimmy, Flora, and Louis. That's the Durhams.
I never did, of course, you know, Florence was dead when I was born, and so I never did know Florence. What was she like?
Who?
Florence, what was she like? I never did know her.
Flora?
Florence.
Oh, Florence.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, no, she died in 1922.
Typhoid
What year were you
fever.
born?
1938.
Oh, she'd been dead then 16 years.
She died of typhoid
She'd been
fever.
dead 16 years when you were born.
Pappy said she was an angel. That's what he's
Florence was a wonderful girl. She was a curious girl. She had a baby's talk. She had a baby's talk. She never got out of that baby's talk as long as I knew her. She's 21 years old when she died.
Georgia Kresge.
She always had a baby's talk. In fact, yes, she was employed by Crest Stores up here on the avenue. She got a job at Crest Stores. And those girls working in there become acquainted with her way and accustomed to her way of talking. And on their off hours, they'd engage her in conversation to hear her talk. You know, they wanted to hear her talk.
And Pappy would never let her come home by herself. He always went down and walked home with her. He never would let her come home.
She didn't have the letter L in the alphabet. Just well not have been there because she didn't know anything about the letter L. She called the clock a cock. And she never called your daddy's Clarence. She called him Camilla. As if it began with a K, you know. She couldn't sound the letter L.
You know.
And if she go to say love, she'd say of. I want to tell you an incident. Her daddy and mother were very devout church people. They went to church, and especially your granddaddy went to church every Sunday. And Florence was growing up. She was 12, 13 years old. She joined the church. And of course the day was set for her baptism, and I was over there during the time she was waiting for her baptism date. She said, "Oh, Uncle Joe." She never called me Uncle Joe, she called me Uncle Joe. Oh, Uncle Joe, I'm going to be baptized. I'm going to be baptized. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. She meant she was glad, you know, but she said, oh, Uncle Joe, I'm going to be baptized. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
You know, my daddy, Clarence, he just thought the world of Florence, Uncle Joe. He just loved her. He's talked about her many times. He just thought she was absolutely a perfect angel. He thought the whole world of Florence.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice. Yeah, she was older than your daddy. She was the firstborn of the family.
He took it very hard, apparently, when she died.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're not going to keep you any longer, and I know you've got things to do, but one of these days we thought we'd come over and do this again. Is that okay with you?
Well, maybe I can be better informed. You know, I've been kind of sketchy. I've been sketchy as the dickens on this because those things, if a question is flushed on you all at once, well, then you may have to study for an answer, you know. Whereas if you have time to think it over, you've got an answer already.
This today, on March the 8th, this is my brother Vic's birthday. Today is his birthday.
Vic, Brother Vic.
Right. He's the one next to me in age.
Let's see.
This is going to be a tape made by Clarence Franklin, myself, and Uncle Joe Durham over at his home. We will have put the date on it. I'm speaking on this part of the tape, March the 12th. Because I had put about 60 seconds of this tape on a tape to Victor, and I erased it off because I didn't see any use in leaving it on. I'll just make another tape to him. I thought I was putting in a new tape, but I found out that I'd had about 60 seconds on this tape that was to Victor. So I'm glad I started to play it back and found out that it was that way, or somebody could have been confused later on listening to it. We had a real enjoyable time with Uncle Joe, hearing him talk about the old times, and here he is 94 years old, going on 95. But Tanky and I enjoyed the visit an awful lot. That's Grandpa Durham's brother, and I guess the only one living now. So I just wanted to make that comment to take up this much of the tape, because I started on this tape at about 60 seconds talking with Uncle Joe, and we had to talk real loud to him because he doesn't hear very well, and so we get a bit loud with our talking. I think this is just about enough time now that the rest of this tape will have been taken up talking to Uncle when Manty Alice Lewis was born. It was 1880.
I believe her birth date was September 1880. September 1880. I'm guessing that a whole lot.
Okay. To Manty Alice Lewis. And do you know when you know where she was born?
What?
You know where she was born, Manty Alice?
She was born in Arkansas, Newton County, Arkansas, up there on the old home place.
Newton County. What was the town?
Fallsville.
Oh, is that in Newton County?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I wanted to know. Tanky and we was wondering. Tanky said it might be Johnson County, but I think it's
What?
It's not Johnson County. It's Newton County, isn't it? Fallsville would be in Newton County, right?
I didn't understand your question.
Is Fallsville? What county is Fallsville?
Oh, that's in Newton County, Fallsville,
okay.
Newton County, Fallsville, Newton County, Arkansas.
Okay, boy, you good remember. And when did she die?
What?
Do you know when Nettie Ellis died?
She died. I don't remember the date. It was 1929.
1929. Okay. Don't remember the date though. Let me see what else I have to know. Now, what was your daddy's full name?
What?
What was your daddy's name? Your daddy. That would be his daddy too. What was your name? Your daddy's name.
What was my daddy's name? Well, he had three names, but we called him Henry. Henry L.
Oh, Henry. Wait, Henry L. Durham. And then your mother's
Now
name.
that's my father. You're talking about my father.
Yeah.
Henry L. Durham.
Where was he born?
And mother's. What's your mother's name?
Your father. Where was he born? Where was your daddy born?
What?
Where was your daddy born?
Where was he born?
Uh-huh.
He was born in Virginia.
Oh, he was.
I couldn't give you any post office, but it's in Virginia.
Yeah. And let's see. What was your mother's name?
Her name was Rosie, R-O-S-A.
R-O-S-A. And what was her maiden name before she met?
Smith.
Rosie Smith. And was she born in Virginia too?
What?
Was she born in Virginia, your mother?
She was born in Kentucky.
Oh, she was
I
born.
can't give you any post office, but she was
Well.
born in Kentucky.
Okay, well that's good. Rosie Smith. Well, that's about what I wanted. Let's see. Nine. And let's see, do you know when oh no, that's all right. I got what I wanted there. 1929. Yeah. I guess that's all I needed. If you ever run onto any genealogy, well, you let me know. You know, 'cause I like to copy it down. And let's see what's
I've got a powerful lot of paraphernalia here, and I don't know whether I can.
Probably it's really something, because you can just run on to so many good things. Let's see, today is March the 8th, 1979. And we're over at Joe Durham's. I didn't think he was coming, so I bought mine. I've been insisted I bring
Have you
the.
already started recording?
Yeah, I was asking Lane because I didn't know whether he was going to come or not. I forgot to tell Doll this morning.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well, I got about what I needed. He's looking up some materials here. He was sitting here just laughing at them.
I had a
Kids on
powerful lot of information here on the Lewises.
Oh.
But I was in communication with the Lewises and the Walkers were kin.
Oh.
And I don't know whether I had any of the Lewis, but I made up several several lists of the Lewises, when they're born, where they're married, when they're married, and who they're married, and any of the children.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually sent that information
To
the woman, fifth generation, lives in Oklahoma City. So I don't have any of the Lewises there on that, because this information I sent to her. Now she's got a world of the Lewis records up there, and I moved.
That's something.
I sent John Lewis's daughter, Pearl, that lived down in Houston, Texas. I made up a list of the Lewises for her and sent it down to her.
Yeah.
Listen, how are you? I haven't said hello yet.
Yeah, I've been. Your mama's got me all mixed up.
I got him all mixed up. Got him so mixed up. He was laughing. I had to come on in. He was laughing at them kids on TV.
Well, you know,
Little rascals.
It's not very often Uncle Joe gets mixed up, so maybe that's gonna, that's different for a change.
Yeah. Well,
Listen, he sat here many an hour and told me about family history.
Well, he's got a lot on the Lewises here. Man, it'd take anybody all.
Have you asked him about Daddy and Folesville and all of that?
Yeah, and it's in Newton County.
No, okay.
He said Newton County, so I'm glad I asked
Okay.
him. He didn't know when your grandmother died, only in 1929. He didn't know what date she died, but. Well, she's buried. Wait a minute. She's buried up there in the cemetery. I can get that off the stone.
If they have it on the stone, yeah.
Sure it is on that stone.
Well, I was going to ask you, have you been watching your machine so that you change the sides whenever you're ready to start?
Yeah, it ain't about.
Well, how long have you been recording?
It ain't even going. Yes, it's going to.
How long have you been recording?
Oh, about 10 minutes. I haven't been here very long.
Oh, well.
That's been-
Shall I? It feels a little bit warm in here. I wonder if we should open the door. Are you too warm, Uncle Joe?
He's a sweating. You sweating.
Yeah. Throw that door open there. That is if you're comfortable.
Oh,
You haven't got on any coat.
It's nice outside.
I'm going to look through this. Maybe I can find something in here.
Feels good. Do you go over to Aunt Liddy's grave once in a while to see it?
He can't hear you, huh?
What?
Do you walk over to Aunt Liddy's grave once in a while?
Yeah, I was over there just the other day. It's been so tough this winter. I can't hardly get out. Afraid to walk across the street. Afraid I'd be too slow in the street and somebody'd come along and hit me. But I did go over there the other day. I was telling Faye about that. I was ashamed that I didn't go more often, but it's been too tough on me. I just couldn't get over there and back.
Yeah,
Too much
that's
snow and
right.
ice. Right. Of course, I had my fall. All right. I fell on that. It comes natural for us older people, I guess.
Joe, what's your middle name? What's your middle initial? What's your middle initial?
Middle, mine, I don't have. I just have a single name.
Just
They
Joseph?
named me Joseph.
Joseph Durham. Josepa.
He had my boy, he's Joe, we call him Joe Jr. But he has a middle initial. His name's Joseph Ellsworth. Joseph E.
Uh-huh.
Well, he's got a couple of cars. He's got a driving car and he's got a pickup truck. Quite naturally, he's got to assess them up the assessor's office and pay taxes on them.
Yeah.
And the other day I went up there to pay my taxes. Now they took me off the tax books 3 years ago because of my age for my personal tax. I've still got, that is just furniture and whatever it takes to live on. Of course, my real estate, my house and lots, I have to pay on that, but I don't pay any personal tax.
Yeah.
So I went up there Monday to pay my taxes. And I put down my tax lot number, block it in, took it up there, and gave it to the lady, and she went back there and hunted it up, lot 5, 6, 7, and 8, block 1, Electric Park. And when she got through, got it all turned up, she got a hold of Joe's personal tax, Joe Jr.'s personal tax, and mixed it in with mine.
Oh, boy.
She found a Joseph Durham there, but she didn't notice that middle initial. And when
Where is Joe?
Joe's been working all week on them, or off and on at least. He finally I got my money back today. I guess he went up there and collected it from.
Does he live here now? Does he live in Fort Smith now? Joe Jr.?
He lives here with me.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Well, my heavens, I didn't know that.
Now here's the status of my family. We have two widowers, Joe Jr. and me, two widowers. And Faye and Charlotte's are two widows. We have two widowers and two widows.
Oh, boy.
And neither one swears they never will marry again.
Once around was enough, huh?
So, Joe Jr. and me lives here on the old place, and we both get our own breakfast. He gets his, and I get mine.
That's
Then
nice.
we eat 2 meals with Faye down there, it's the third door to her.
That's nice.
She just lives a few houses down.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it is, though. Joe? Uncle Joe? When was you born? When were you born?
Where was I born?
When were you born?
When? September the 10th, 1884.
10th September,
So-
1884.
I've kept that date for 94 years. And hey,
94 years old.
Mom, he
Huh?
said September the 10th.
Yeah. And
Is that 1884?
yeah. Now, where were you born? Where were you born?
Newton County,
Newton County.
Fallsville, Newton County, right up there where
Where Pappy was born.
Alice was born. Alice Lewis.
Yeah. Fallsville, Newton County.
So, Uncle Joe, that makes you what now? You're
What?
right. Your age now is what?
94.
You'll be
I'm
95 this coming September.
I'll be 95 next September.
I see.
I was 94 last September.
Yes, sir. Your birthday is just 9 days before mine. Mine's September the 19th.
Yeah. Well, Charlotte's is September the 20th.
Oh,
Love September birthdays.
when was you married to Aunt Liddy?
Huh?
When was you and Aunt Liddy married?
When we were married?
When were you married?
June the 7th, 1904.
Boy, you remember.
Oh, listen,
June
Uncle,
7th.
Uncle Joe
I
is.
still got my old marriage license.
Oh,
you have
boy.
to have some glue to keep it together, keep
Yeah.
it that long. But I've still got the old marriage license. I got it put away in my papers.
Uncle Joe he is a walking history book. I
Liddy.
told Mother, Uncle Joe, you're a walking history book. You know the history of all the Durham and Lewis families.
Yeah, he got a lot on Lewis's in here. What was Aunt Liddy's maiden name?
What?
What was Aunt Liddy's maiden name?
Well, that's Swearingen. You may have a pretty hard time
Spelling.
spelling that.
Yeah, you spell it.
Swearingen.
Gosh.
When we was sparking, I had a hard time writing that name at the start, but I soon got so I could write it pretty well.
Now, when was she born? When was she born?
When?
Uh-huh.
March the 24th, 1887.
Okay, and when did she die? What was the date? I know I was over here, but I forgot.
The date she died is February the 23rd, 1976.
1976. I guess that's all I need on. Let's see, that does me out pretty good. Where? Oh, and yeah,
Uncle
she died
Joe-
here in Fort Smith.
Then you and Aunt Liddy were married for about 72 years, weren't you?
Well, I call it 71 and a half. She was married in June and she died in February. It's about 71 years and 8 months.
That's
It
amazing.
just was 4 months short of 72 years.
Boy, you was married all your life nearly.
What?
You was married all your life nearly.
Yeah. I was married, I was 19. I was 4 months short of 20 when I married. I was 19, really. And Mom was 17.
Well,
Well, Uncle Joe,
I'll say.
tell me something. The last time I was over here, we were talking about the post office.
Post office.
You used to work at the post office, and so did Grandpa James,
Yeah.
Grandpa Jim,
And your dad did
and
too?
my dad. And how many years now were you there at the post office yourself?
34 years and 8 months. No, 33 years and 8 months.
You were at the post office 33
Yeah.
years and 8 months. And then Grandpa Jim, how many?
Well, I think he had 29 years. He was forced out by age, you know. He began his postal career when he was older than me. So he was forced out before he got in his 30 years. He was forced out by age. The age limit forced him out.
I
Yeah.
see.
I remember
I
they
think
give him a big.
he got in something over 29 years.
And Pappy had in 24, didn't he, Mom? 24, I believe
Yeah,
it was.
about 24.
So, you know, Uncle Joe, the three of you together had close to 100 years in altogether, the three of you.
Yes,
I believe I figured that up. Let's see, what, 90?
24 and 29 is 63, and then what your daddy had?
Well, let's see, no, that'd be 53. 29, 24 would be 53, and you had in 34. So what would that be, 87 altogether?
Yes, we had quite a career. That is a combined career, all of us together.
Now, when you worked for the post office, what was your job at the post office?
Well, there's several different divisions of the post office. There's the register division, money order division, the city division, that is the mailing division.
I'm not real sure my batteries are very good.
I've got some more.
Well, I hope this is taken. You ready to put yours on now? My batteries, I don't know for sure. If they're
You've got
ready.
some kind of recorders
Yeah,
recording my voice if
Yeah.
I talk along here.
Yeah, so we have it.
You may have it kind of mixed up.
Well, no, it'd be funny. No, I think it's nice. I hope my batteries are good. I don't know for sure.
Just a moment. Just a moment. We're going to check the batteries, Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
We're going to check the batteries in her machine for just a moment. So kind of wait for just a second till I check
Yeah.
those.
Can we just turn it off here?
Now, there's a way to do that, Mom.
I hope heaven. I don't
We'll
know
shut
how
the
to-
machine.
About to-
Okay, your machine's in good shape. So
Okay. Let me
we
see
can-
about how many more minutes is allowed. I
we
didn't
can
bring my
go.
watch. Let me stop.
I'll just say that Uncle Joe, he has difficulty hearing, so many times we have to repeat things. But we'd love to come over here and talk with him. Uncle Joe, do you know what I remember about you so well?
Did I know what?
Do you know what I remember about you so well? What I remember about you so very well is the fact that you came over to visit Pappy when he was sick.
Oh, yes.
All the time.
I don't believe you missed a day, did you? During that time that he was in bed?
Nope. You didn't miss a day.
I believe you came over every single day, at least it seemed like it.
Yes, I was over there several times. I really didn't keep any account.
I did. You know
It
that.
looked like he was so much alone, you know, and he needed somebody of his own flesh and blood, you know, to
Yeah.
could cheer him up once in a while. I tried to do that, tried to give him all the help I could. I couldn't do any better than to be in his presence all the time, and he was always glad to see me.
Tickled him to death.
Even when he's in the hospital, I think he was in the hospital his last time. I went to see him in the hospital there, but just not long before he died.
Yeah, you did.
He seems to be so alone, and he's suffering by himself. He's taking it all in and needed some cheer somewhere.
Well, between me and you, we kept it going. I never left him. I never left him once. Stayed right there every day and night. Uncle Joe, I'll tell you what I remember about Aunt Liddy the most.
What?
I'll tell you what I remember about Aunt Liddy the most. You know them good meals she used to cook? Do you remember all those good big meals she used to cook? Aunt Liddy used to cook those great big meals for people. I don't think he can understand my voice.
You mean
Your brother?
Are you meaning she worked in restaurants around?
No, she'd have everybody over and cook a big meal for them when your brothers would come from Kentucky up here.
Oh, yes.
You remember that? What was their names? I forgot now. The ones in Kentucky. Your oldest brother.
His name is Tom.
Yeah, Tom
Yeah.
and the other one. What was his name?
What?
What was the other one name? The
John.
John. That's right.
Tom and John.
Yeah, Tom and John. Yeah.
Then I had the third brother. The third brother, the one just older than me, died at age 32.
Yeah.
Jabe had an accident in our oat field when he was about 11 or 12 years old. He was I have to go back to quite a ways. We always cut our corn stalks with a hoe, an old dull hoe, when we went to sow oats the next spring.
Yeah.
My father used to take 2 rows of corn down through the field, and he'd broadcast them oats with his hand, and he was perfect. He'd make them just as perfect all over that field. It's like they'd been put there with a machinery. But he went by 2 rows of corn. He'd sow 2 rows down through the field. He'd come back on the next 2. So it was our jobs to go ahead of him, or go behind him after he had the stalks there, and cut those stalks down. After they guided him in sowing the oats, well, we cut them down. And then along come the plow and plowed the oats under. That's the way we sowed oats. That old double shovel plow with a single horse down to the. Well, in cutting those stalks, we usually tried to cut the stalks when the ground was frozen, because the roots were frozen in the ground. And you could take an old Earl hoe and hit those stalks about that far above the ground and just shatter them off, you know. And then shatter them off, you'd sometimes leave little stickers sticking up that way with a sharp. Well, Jabe come along when he was about 11 or 12 years old, and mending up some burning brush heaps or log heaps in the field, and he was hopping along on some kind of an old hopper, you know. He'd put it down and hop over, and put it down and hop over, and that broke with him. That stick broke with him.
Oh.
And he fell, and one of those sharp stickers on those stalks down there struck him in the needles, right alongside. It didn't strike exactly center, but it went away in, and I never saw so much blood in my life.
Well.
Mother and Jim, your grandpa, and our sister Nancy, carried him home on a sheet about a quarter of a mile. They had to cross two rail fences.
Mm.
And they get to those rail fences. Now we didn't have no gates there. Whenever you get ready to cross a rail fence, you just climbed over. But we had to lay down a few rails so they could get him over those fences, lower down. And they get him out of shape, and the blood, I seen the blood spurt that up and make a rainbow down right on him, 100 yards from the house yet. I never saw him do this. And there wasn't any doctors in that country, there's no hospitals. So it had to be up to Mother.
What was his name?
That is Jabe,
Well,
the one just older than me.
Jay.
Is it Jay?
And all his life, that is the rest of his life, he died at 32. The rest of his life, that bothered him.
Yeah.
And he went to hospitals and doctors and hospitals and doctors.
Well,
And they finally wound up completely castrated. He didn't have anything. They had castrated him. And that's the way he died. He suffered, but he suffered. From that time on, when he snagged himself on that corn stalk sticker, until he died, he suffered with that. And he died young, less than 33 years old. That was the ultimate cause of his death.
Well, I didn't know about that.
He was born in May the 22nd, 1882. Jabel. Jabel. We always call him Jabe.
Jabel Durham.
Uncle Joe, Has he told about any of his other brothers and sisters yet?
No, I don't have any sisters he's got.
Uncle Joe, tell us about all of your other brothers and sisters, would you? Now, you've told us about Jabal. Tell us about all of the other ones.
Uncle John, Uncle Tommy has, but,
Well, he hasn't told us really any detail about them.
well, I've seen him. I mean, they've been up there a lot of times.
Well, I don't know. I don't have much story.
How many sisters did you?
I can begin. I can begin with Tom, the oldest. Tom was never much of a family boy. Now he's born in '73, and they came to Arkansas in '83. But he was then past 10 years old. He was almost 11, and they come to Arkansas. Well, he never did all of his life. He never did have any great love for our daddy. You know, him and our daddy didn't get along very well, even from his youth on up. So he didn't stay at home very long after they moved from Kentucky to Arkansas. He wasn't at home more than 2 years. He spent most of his time with Uncle James Smith down on the Cave Mountain, and Uncle Frank Hibbard, who lived there close by, and Grandpap Smith. They all lived there within a few miles of each other. Spent most of his life there, married over there. Jim was the devoted one. That's the second one. That's your granddaddy. He stayed with us till he was 25 years old.
What was his
And
name?
he was a hard
James.
worker, very industrious.
Oh, yeah.
Married Nancy, married at the age of about 17 or 18 years old. Jade comes next, and I'll give you his history, then mine. Then comes John, John was born in 1889. Charlie was born in